Hello everyone, it's Thursday's video and somehow we've already made it to May. This month could prove to be a big one for Celtic. The aim as ever is to bring home more silverware, and who knows, maybe even secure a derby win this weekend. There's still plenty to play for, it promises to be an exciting month ahead, and there's a real sense of confidence in the air as we enter it. A few interesting thoughts have come to light recently, which we'll touch on here today. So what else is on the agenda? Well, we'll take a look at the leaked images of what might be the new home kit, and there's plenty of other wee stories to get into as well. Now, yesterday was a bit of a strange one in terms of news. It all came together rather oddly, with a few interviews popping up in a short space of time. Interestingly, these weren't players signed last summer but the summer before. Unfortunately, things haven't gone quite to plan, and both lads are now out on loan. We're talking about Marco Tilio and Odin Holm. First up, we heard from Tilio, who spoke while back home in Melbourne. He's currently with Melbourne City, where their social media team has done a fine job around match days. He came across hasn't even had his proper unveiling over there yet, but seems like a cracking guy. And he's a very talented footballer. It just hasn't quite worked for him at Celtic, and back at Melbourne City, he's had a few injury setbacks over the last couple of years, but you can still see the quality when he's on the pitch. He recently spoke about how excited he was to join Celtic at first, about the project and what it all looked like back then. It's easy to forget he suffered an injury just before signing, a tendon issue that kept him out for months. Despite that, the club felt it was still worth bringing him in. But the timing was far from ideal. He spent the early part of last season playing catch-up, trying to fit into the system and struggling to make an impact. In the interview, he came across as a top lad, but there are lingering doubts about his future here. He expressed a desire to be playing for a European club regularly by this time next year, which naturally raises questions. Would that still be with Celtic? It's hard to say. Then we heard from Odin Holm, who gave an update from Los Angeles, where he's currently playing in Major League Soccer. His contract runs until the end of the year, which might make it tricky for him to return and slot back into the manager's plans. By the time he comes back, next season will already be halfway done. It might have been better if he were returning for pre-season in a few weeks, as that'd give him a proper shot. He's got a tough road ahead, but to be fair to him, he showed a strong desire to succeed at Celtic. He still sees a future here and believes he can become a regular starter, which is great to hear. But there are fair questions about whether he can force his way into a midfield that's already quite solid and could become even stronger next season. If you look back, there haven't been many players loaned out who've come back and nailed down a starting spot. Ryan Christie's the one that comes to mind, and even his loan felt a bit different. It always seemed like a stepping stone, a chance to develop him with the intention of bringing him back in. That's not quite the vibe with Holm. The club doesn't appear to see him in their immediate plans and seem more focused on giving him experience elsewhere, possibly even paving the way for a permanent move. There's still potential in him, no doubt, but question marks remain. Now, shifting gears a wee bit, something happened yesterday that might ruffle a few feathers, especially if you're a bit thin-skinned or support a certain other team. Funny how those two things often go together, eh? During a press conference yesterday, a bold comment was made regarding a rival. At first, it seemed odd that this particular team would be holding a presser. But once we looked into it, it turned out they were simply showing off the shirts their players wore after the match at Tannadice last Saturday, which, to be fair, is totally fine. Even so, it didn't take long for things to heat up, especially after a reporter asked about a potential guard of honor this weekend. That always gets folk talking, doesn't it? The answer was a flat-out, no, not at all. That's how these things go, right? Imagine if the tables were turned. Would the reaction be any different? Who knows? I haven't been snooping through forums or scrolling through Twitter to gauge the meltdown, but I've no doubt the comments stirred up some strong reactions. A few folk online seem to think the comments were a bit out of line, that it maybe wasn't the best look. Personally, I don't see the issue. It reminds me of an incident last year, just after we won the league, when one of our players cheekily mimicked a rival. Some fans weren't too happy back then either. Folk always get their backs up about these things, saying things like, oh, he shouldn't have said that. But I think it's harmless. The way I see it, players who've grafted all season and delivered a title deserve to enjoy it. That title belongs to us all, and if they want to have a wee laugh, let them. These comments weren't made while the title race was still active. I get that not everyone will feel the same way, and sure, a more reserved player might have held back. But football's full of different personalities, and I think we need more of the lighthearted ones. He didn't slag anyone directly, right? Those cheeky characters are brilliant, and we need them, especially now when football can feel a bit dull both on and off the pitch. He was in a relaxed mood, having a bit of banter. He also spoke about a key moment from last year when he changed clubs. Had he stayed, he'd have missed out on top-flight football and might have even faced relegation. He said if he'd stayed, that team wouldn't be in trouble. Had a wee chuckle about it. But these days, folk take everything so serious. Honestly, I thought it was lighthearted and quite funny. On to something else. We've had an update on the National Cup final. The match is officially scheduled for Saturday, the 24th of May, kicking off at 3 o'clock, and it'll be shown live on telly. Naturally, that brought about the usual chat over ticket allocations. Recently, it was confirmed that one of the clubs secured a sizable portion of tickets, right up to the halfway line on the camera-facing side. So on the broadcast, it will probably look like a fair split. But if you do the maths, and granted, I'm not exactly a numbers man, it seems like they're getting more than what was first suggested. Hampden holds around 52,000, if I'm not mistaken. I know thousands of tickets go to sponsors and all that. Still, I suspect the other side's getting a bigger chunk than folks realize. I guess that at the lower tier, the split's fairly even, but there'll also be supporters in the upper stands, which don't show up well on camera. So it might look even on the screen, but in reality, it might not be. Something interesting that came out, apparently the club has to cover the cost of any empty seats, so they're paying for all the spots regardless, even if they're not filled. I'm not sure that helps the atmosphere much, especially if we get another semi-final vibe with loads of empty spaces. But that's the way things are. I'm not overly bothered by the ticket debate. It always comes up, just like the usual moans about plastic pitches and league revamps before every cup final. My view's always been that cup finals should be split as evenly as possible, or at least close to it. That kind of balance creates a proper atmosphere, like the final a few years back when we beat our rivals. What a day that was. But it felt a wee bit odd with about 90% of the crowd being on our side. That's not a dig at a team, just a spectacle itself. I've always believed that a 50-50 split gives us something more special. I know that's not much comfort to fans who follow the team every week and still can't get a ticket, but it might mean a lifelong supporter gets to see a final for the first time in years. It's not perfect, but it's something. And by the way, that final will be the last outing for this season's home kit, and I need to take a moment to praise it. What a strip it's been! Easily one of my favorites in recent years. We've played well in it too, but time moves on. It does raise the question though, when did we start changing the kit every single season? Back in the day, a shirt would last 2, maybe even 3 years. I remember the first season under a certain manager. I'm pretty sure we wore the same kit the next season as well. That just doesn't happen anymore. Seems like it's all about boosting revenue these days. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Jamie McGrath has quickly become the newest sensation wearing the green and white of Celtic, and Parkhead is buzzing with excitement. The Irish midfielder, known for his sharp vision and tireless work ethic, has slotted into the squad with a confidence that belies the pressure of playing for one of Scotland's most storied clubs. His arrival wasn't met with the same level of fanfare that often surrounds big-name signings, but McGrath is proving that sometimes the most impactful additions are the ones that quietly get the job done. A product of St. Patrick's Athletic and later making his name at St. Mirren and Wigan, McGrath has always carried a certain calmness on the ball, but it's his intelligence off it that's making a real difference for Celtic. Since joining the boys, he's added balance to the midfield, linking defense to attack with precision passing and an ability to read the game that's rare. While he may not be grabbing the headlines with screamers from 30 yards out or flashy tricks, his influence on the pitch is undeniable. The Celtic faithful have taken notice. There's a growing appreciation from the terraces, with supporters praising not just his performances, but the hunger he shows every time he pulls on a "hey" shirt. In a league where intensity is king and every inch must be earned, McGrath's grit has made him a natural fit. It's the kind of story that resonates in Glasgow. A hard-working player seizing his chance, wearing the badge with pride, and lifting the level of those around him. What's perhaps most exciting is that this might just be the beginning. With more minutes under his belt and the confidence of the manager behind him, McGrath could become a key figure in Celtic's push for silverware. His journey to the top has been anything but conventional, but that only makes it sweeter. In a squad full of flair and talent, Jamie McGrath is emerging as the quiet engine driving Celtic forward. And the fans wouldn't have it any other way. Hello fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.